My sister-in-law, Cleo, tried to tell me that nobody wanted me around for Mother's Day. She insisted I drop off my husband, her brother, and if I came with him, she would make it everyone's problem. My husband, Ryan, said that he wanted me to be there as well, and he knew my mother-in-law would also want that. Ryan is aware of my conflict with Cleo, as he was dragged into it. He is disabled, and she believes she needs to protect him from me. It stems from her not approving of our open marriage and not trusting Ryan's lived experience. She tried to confront me over it and ended up looking foolish. I'm sure it's partially a bruised ego. Well, Cleo told me that I'd better not show up and ruin everyone's day. I have a good relationship with my mother-in-law, and I made her a little stained glass piece of lilacs, her favorite flower. My plan was to arrive with Ryan, seek out mother-in-law to give her the gift, and make sure that she did want me there. I'd leave if she didn't. It's her day, not Cleo's. We showed up, mother-in-law was very happy to see us, hugged us both and brought us inside. I gave her my gift, she loved it and immediately put it up in her kitchen window. Cleo cornered me and asked me why I'd shown up when she clearly told me not to come, and said that mother-in-law deserved a nice time with her children without interlopers. My phrasing, hers was more colorful. She continued to dig at me to the point that mother-in-law asked her why. Cleo said that she'd warned me not to come. Mother-in-law asked Cleo to knock it off. Cleo doubled down and said that I am the problem, not her. Mother-in-law more firmly told her to knock it off, and whatever is going on between us, it's just between us. Cleo became very angry about that, grabbed her purse and left. The rest of us relaxed, but the vibe shifted. I feel terrible about putting a dark cloud over Mother's Day. Ryan said that it's okay, Cleo was the one with the issue and she is alienating the family by thinking she knows best. He said he would try to talk to her again, but last time he tried, she wouldn't listen. The next day, Cleo sent me several long messages that can be summed up with "I do not trust you, and I will prove to everyone that you are no good, and you ruined Mother's Day." Was I really the wrong party in this situation for showing up, knowing Cleo would say or do something? I mean, she did warn me, and I showed up anyway. Even if she was the one to leave in the end, Cleo is her daughter, not me. Comment 1. I need to know why she hates you so much. Why doesn't she trust you? You mentioned open marriage, but I feel like there has to be more to it. Comment 2. Based on OP mentioning her husband is disabled and Cleo is claiming to protect her brother, it sounds to me like Cleo infantilizes her disabled brother and is convinced he doesn't have the agency to decide how he wants to conduct his own life. So she considers OP a predator because in Cleo's mind either no one could fall in love with someone disabled and/or disabled people aren't capable of consent. It's actually a pretty common ableist viewpoint from what I've heard from folks in the disability community. Story 2. Refusing to pay the late fee to my tailor? I 25F have had an appointment to get my wedding dress tailored for about 3 months now. The lady I made it with has the highest reviews in my city, and on her website it says how she has a strict, unforgivable $75 late fee. Pricey, I know. But I've always been a pretty timely person and her work is literally some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever seen, so I didn't see a problem. Time skipped to my appointment yesterday. I came in 15 minutes early because there was no way I was going to risk paying an extra $75 lol. Anyways, when there was about 2 minutes left until my appointment, I walked over to her door. It's a boutique with a ton of tailors and knocked. She came to the door and told me her client was still there and she'd get me in a few minutes. I'm completely unbothered by this and go sit down. After a few minutes I see the client leave her room, but she doesn't come to get me, so I assume maybe she's still doing stuff or writing something down. About 15 minutes pass and I finally walk over and knock. She smiled at me but looked a little annoyed. I brushed it off and walked in and changed and stuff. She pins my dress in several different pieces, does a bunch of stuff to it and tells me the estimated price and how long it'll take for her to do. I agree and started to leave, but she stopped me saying I needed to pay the late fee before I left. I was super confused and told her I got here really early, and came to the door before my appointment even started. She told me that even so, I didn't walk in after the client left and I had to have saw that. I literally thought this was a joke, so I laughed and she got pissed and said I wasted 15 minutes of her time. I repeated what she said earlier and said I thought she was going to come get me. A lot of words are exchanged and I'm a little ashamed to admit I lost my cool. I grabbed my dress, took the pins out and told her I'd be finding someone else to tailor. I handed her a $50 bill from my wallet to thank her for my time and left. So yeah. I'm pretty bummed because I loved her work and Instagram. I'm also worried that I overreacted and should have just paid the fine. My fiancé is 100% on my side and has already started helping me find another tailor, but my parents think I should have just sucked it up and paid the fine. Should I DM her an apology? Or even Venmo her? Comment 1. She said she would come and get you and then she didn't do that. The error was hers because she communicated incorrect information to you, then she tried to charge you for her error. I wouldn't want to work with someone like this. No doubt there would be lots of unexpected charges. It just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Comment 2. NTA. You were early so she knew you were waiting outside. Also, I would think after 5 minutes have passed and you didn't come inside, she would have at least checked on you. It feels a lot like she didn't check on you or call you in because she wanted to charge you the $75 late fee, which definitely makes her the R. Comment 3. NTA. I think she was unprofessional. If you are going to charge a late fee then you'd better be ready to deal with me on time. Once she let her previous client run overtime, she should have been ready to waive any late fee from you. And she should have come out to call you in too. Story 3. Not splitting the inheritance with my siblings after finding out I was the only one who didn't screw over our dad. My dad died about 6 months ago. I'm 29F, the youngest of 4. My older siblings are 35F, 37M, and 40F. We weren't a super close family, especially with my dad. He was strict, cold, kind of hard to be around. But in the last few years, I was the only one who stayed in touch with him. I'd check in, help out with errands, sit with him during appointments, that kind of thing. The rest of my siblings gradually drifted off. I figured they just had their reasons and never pushed it. I thought we were all on decent enough terms. When he passed, I was shocked to learn he'd left everything to me, the house, car, and around $300,000 in savings. The will was updated a year before he died, and it's completely legal. I didn't ask for that. I didn't expect it. Honestly, I thought we'd all get an equal share. The day after the funeral, my siblings sat me down and just assumed I'd divide everything 4 ways. I told them I wasn't going to. That's when the drama started. Turns out, they hadn't just drifted. They had all pulled some shady stuff with my dad over the years. One borrowed money and ghosted him, one tried to get him to co-sign a loan and went no contact when he refused, and one literally forged his signature on an insurance thing. I had no idea. But apparently, my dad did. He never said anything to me about it. He just changed his will and left everything to me, the one who stuck around and didn't lie to him. Now they're calling me selfish and manipulative. Saying he wasn't in his right mind. He absolutely was sharp until the end. One of them hinted at legal action but dropped it once they saw the paperwork. I haven't touched the money yet. Part of me feels guilty. Another part of me feels like this is the one time he actually showed he saw me, and I don't want to undo that. I want to mention that I didn't have a bad relationship with my siblings, we were all right, but when I found out what they did to our dad, it just broke my heart. Comment 1. From the sound of it, your siblings inherited exactly what they deserved. NTA. But realize if you don't share with them, they're likely out of your life for good. Only you can decide that, but it does seem like even if you do share, they will screw you over in some way down the line. If I'm in your shoes, I'd be saying my goodbyes. Comment 2. Look, they're projecting. The only ones selfish and manipulative were your siblings. At the same time, just understand that this decision could impact your relationship with them moving forward. You need to be prepared to deal with that. Story 4, refusing to do my neighbor's shopping after helping her once, even though she could order online. A couple of weeks ago, my elderly neighbor, let's call her Jean, knocked on my door and asked if I was popping to Tesco anytime soon. I was, so I said I didn't mind grabbing her a few bits. She gave me a short list: milk, bread, rich tea biscuits, that sort of thing, and I dropped it off later that day. No drama. She gave me the money, I said it was no bother. But then 2 days later she knocked again. Another list. Then again. And again. Now I'm getting shopping lists handed to me 3 times a week, with specific brands, odd requests, and once she even asked if I could swing by Boots to collect her prescription. I finally told her, as politely as I could, that I can't keep doing it. I work full-time, I've got kids, and honestly, I'm shattered most days. I also pointed out that she can order groceries online. Tesco, Sainsbury's, even Iceland do deliveries, and there's a pharmacy just down the road that offers free prescription delivery. She's mobile enough to go into her garden and down the street, so it's not like she's housebound. She got really cold and muttered something about how she thought I was better than the rest of them. Since then, a couple of neighbors have been a bit frosty, so I'm wondering if she's had a moan. I do feel a bit guilty, but, comment 1, NTA. Why pay for online delivery when you can guilt your neighbor into delivery for free? /S. I'm sure those neighbors that seem frosty can put that same energy into running errands for your neighbor. If someone says something directly up you, ask when last they got her groceries. It's okay to set a boundary. If you have a regular shopping schedule, you could let her lists pile up until you were going to the store anyway, but I'm not sure I'd offer if a no results in rallying people against you. Comment 2. NTA. She thought you were better than the rest of them because you put up with her nonsense for longer than anyone else did. The rest of them are all the other people she's annoyed. Helping out occasionally, sure. Getting a few things for her when you're already doing your shop, great. Sending you on errands and expecting you to go out of your way just for her, then getting upset when you put a stop to it? Great way to lose all the help. Extra, refusing to pay my cat sitter? I, 29F, have an 11-year-old calico named Daisy. A year ago, I moved a few hours further from home for work, which came with the issue of needing to find a new sitter. My fiancé, 34M, and I were lucky to find somebody pretty quickly through a pet sitting app, but she ended up being unavailable during the week of our trip. This came up over dinner at my sister's house, and her daughter/my niece suggested her cousin, Bill's family, Ava, 18F, saying she's been looking for some side jobs to make money before she goes off to college this fall. I contacted Ava and she accepted the job. I invited Ava over a couple days early so she could meet Daisy and get acquainted with the space. The most important detail here is that I emphasized our main rule to not let Daisy out unleashed and unsupervised. I showed Ava the harness and leash I used to take Daisy on walks, explained the risks of letting her out unsupervised, and she seemed to understand. Fiancé and I left on our trip a couple days later thinking all was well. We finally got back yesterday, after a genuinely lovely week, and met Ava as she was finishing up with her last drop-in. During our reunion, I found scratches on Daisy. I asked Ava if she had any idea what happened. At first Ava's story was that she didn't know, and then she admitted it might have happened when they went on a walk. I went to find the harness to see if there was any damage to it, but it was in the exact spot I left it in, along with the leash. I asked Ava point blank if she let Daisy out by herself, and she finally admitted yes, that Daisy wouldn't stop hounding her for food and treats, and that she was yowling so much during a drop-in when she was having a headache that she put her out for a little while she set up the food and cleaned the litter. She then forgot Daisy outside all night. She said she realized when she dropped back in the next morning for a feeding and a walk and Daisy wasn't waiting just inside the door that she remembered she'd put her out, so she tried shaking a bag of Daisy's favorite cat treats, which worked. She's a greedy little cat. I was furious at the point and asked Ava to leave. She asked what about the money, and I told her she wouldn't be getting paid. She got upset and said it wasn't fair to not pay her for an entire week over one mistake, but eventually left. She has texted me an apology since, but I've also received some texts from my bill, who is mostly taking her side in the issue and saying I should absolutely pay her, but that he would understand if I docked a day off. I told him I'll be putting my money towards a vet visit, which I have an appointment for tomorrow.